We're set. How was the week after NAKO?
Um, that was only
Is it? I guess it's been two
last
weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah. My gosh, it's already been like time's been flying by, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And you're in Colorado right now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Colorado,
Yeah.
just for Thanksgiving, being with the family and
Yeah.
uh, eating a ton.
Yeah.
Feast.
Of course. Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thank you. So for everybody listening, we're here with Hyrum Thacker, winner of the North American Kendama Open Advanced Division, which for those of you who don't know, North American Kendama Open is one of the two biggest kendama competitions in the United States. And the Advanced Division was really competitive. Hyrum, do you know how many players competed?
In the whole event,
Advanced.
it just advanced, I'm pretty sure was 67, almost 70 players.
Yeah, it was just around, it was 66 including yourself. Yeah, so you beat out 65 people for the win.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
insane. So obviously huge weekend for you, coming in, taking home the win. I knew a couple other advanced players who really, really wanted it, and you beat them all. So it was a huge win. It was definitely a competitive division too. And today I'm really excited to talk to you about your whole competition experience, all the work you put in before, how it felt up there on stage. But before we get into all of that, I'd love to get some context as to who you are as a player and as a person. So I'd love if you could tell everybody how old are you, where you're from, and how long you've been playing kendama.
Sure. I'm 16 years old and I'm from New Mexico. I live in Rio Rancho, and I've been playing for almost 3 years. I think it was 2000, no, 2021, wrong number. Yeah, 2021 is when I really got into it.
Yeah, 2021. Okay. So not quite 2020 like a lot of people, but yeah, 2021 coming in after that. Was it a huge thing for you? Was it really popular or how did you get into it?
No, not a, it, it's not really known up in New Mexico or down in New Mexico.
Hmm.
Um, I, it's a lot of people that got me into it, like a lot of different little things that built up to me actually enjoying kendama and having this as a passion. Uh, like the first time I saw it would be it's probably at my friend's house. I remember his my friend's older brother just had a little collection in his room on his wall. He had some kendama set up. It's like, oh, what are those? Um, may I try or something? And they're like, yeah,
Hmm.
get the cup and stuff. I was probably maybe I was 8 years old. I don't know. It was a while ago when I first was introduced by it. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, it's kind of cool. And yeah, that was my first time seeing a kendama. And then later on, just at a Target, I was with my mom and I was like, oh, I recognize that thing on the shelf. That's a kendama.
Yeah.
So we bought that and I just knew how to do the cups and then I did the spike. It was like, okay, I already can do it. That's about it for it.
Yeah.
How you do kendama, I guess. And then so it was just like sitting on my shelf at my house, my Sweets Prime, I think. Very first one was a Sweets
Hmm.
Prime. Um, then it was years later till 2021. There was a guy in my church that actually also had a kendama, and I was like, "Oh, sick! He knows what that is too." And I would see this guy actually do tricks like lighthouse, lighthouse flip, booners, maybe some simple juggles and stuff. Like, what? You could
Yeah.
do that? And I'm like, as a new player, I was like, not even a player, I would say. I just knew what it was and could do a few cups. But I was like, oh, that's so cool. You got to teach me this. I have one of my own. And yeah, that really set me off. And I've just been playing since 2021. Jaime Mejia was the guy's name.
Does he still play with you?
He he's not living in New Mexico at the moment. He's in college. So
Mm-hmm.
I think he doesn't have as much time as me to play, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
um, but we actually called, he got to see the live stream of
Oh,
NAKO
no
and
way.
it was so cool. I haven't been able to play with him much though, because he's moved and
Yeah.
everything.
Well, I'm sure you're stoked to see how well you did this past, a couple weekends ago. I mean, absolutely amazing. So it sounds like you had a little bit of exposure to Kendama at 8. 5 years later, you saw it again, right?
Yeah, it's about 5 years. Like 13 is when I started.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, yeah. And then you got back into it. So that's awesome. And so at first it sounds like you thought you figured it out and you could already, oh yeah, I can already do it. But what
Yeah.
was the and how did you feel when you realized slowly more and more that there was just infinite tricks?
Um, yeah, that just excited me because I've always liked, I've actually been into other skill toys and whatever, just puzzles.
Hmm.
And when I found out there's more possibilities, I'm like, whoa, I could keep going at this. Um, I don't know, just going, maybe it was my lighthouse, my first lighthouse. I was so stoked. I was like, what the heck? I could
Yeah.
do this too. And then since I knew I can do some of the tricks that someone was close to me could do, I was like, oh, I'm gonna just keep playing with this because it's just fun and could pass time.
Yeah. And usually and so did you have a squad you played with starting out or besides, your friend, were you just playing by yourself?
I've just been playing by myself for the 3 years. I recently met a squad down in Albuquerque, which is about 30 minutes away from us. We'll do meetups there. Well, everyone's kind of spread out in New Mexico, but um, Dan Garcia actually hosts some jams
Yeah.
uh, monthly. And so I actually found them like May of this year.
Hmm.
And oh, it was so cool. They also went to NAKO and um, I've been, I consider that my New Mexico Kendama squad.
Yeah. Okay. So you found them recently, but for the first majority of your time playing, you've been playing majority by yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I don't have anyone really close that I play with much. I have been trying to get my friends into it very slowly. I actually
Hmm.
have one of them. Actually, I have a few of them, but they're not to my skill level yet, where I can really have the same experience, I guess,
Yeah.
or same drive, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That
But
makes
it's
sense.
still fun. I'm like, hey, one step at a time. If y'all keep playing, that just makes me happy.
Yeah.
just
Exactly.
just spreading kendama.
Hmm. And did you start competing at any point before NAKO, or was this really your first comp?
Well, the the jam sessions we've done in New Mexico. Uh, my very first in-person one was with them. I think it was either May or June, and that was the first time I found out about them. They were hosting their little competition, doing prizes and stuff, and I went out and actually took second there. It was just
Wow.
some games, and it was Dan Garcia that I lost to. It
Hmm.
was really close, but I got to meet them and I was like, oh, I found my people.
Yeah.
But
That's
other
all.
than that, I haven't really competed much except for your online tournaments
Hmm.
pre-NAKO.
Yeah. Pre-NAKO.
This was like my NAKO was my very first big event, I'd say. Yeah.
Hmm. And okay, yeah. So you competed at the jam session in the local scene in New Mexico, pre-NAKO, and then you competed in our second one, the Ken Games, which you won both. I don't know if people listening, Hiram entered both of our tournaments and won both divisions that he won both times that he entered. And it was interesting because you entered intermediate in the first one, and I judged your first match, and I after the match you won, I just thought, okay, this dude's definitely gonna win. He's not. I don't know if he's actually
But
intermediate, but but he's definitely gonna win. And you entered advance the next tournament and the next tournament that we did, and you won that too. So can you take us through, your mindset signing up for the comp? I mean, you won intermediate and advanced. I mean, that's not really something that happens, usually. So when you're registering for pre-NAKO, what were you thinking?
um, what was the question again?
Yeah, so like when you're registering for pre-NAKO, you
The-
enter intermediate, you win
yeah,
that, but then the next time you enter advanced because you're like, okay, now I know I can do these tricks. I'm good. I'm moving on to the next level. But then you win that one too. So at first, were you just were you just kind of confused at where your, I guess, skill level is in terms of competition?
definitely. Like going back to I don't really have many people close to me
Hmm.
that play often. It's kind of hard to gauge where my skill level is. And I'm like, all I can compare myself to is my few friends that are close to me that can do a few of uh, intermediate tricks that I've taught them. Or I could compare myself to the Instagram clips of you guys and pros doing their hardest tricks or best laces. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if I'm really good or if
Hmm.
I'm like way low in terms of what a skill level is for an average player. So I just signing up for intermediate, I was like, okay, I guess I'll see how this goes. I'm going to meet a ton of people. And um, yeah, doing an intermediate and advanced
Yeah.
shows that I'm pretty fairly decent player.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so it sounds like you entered four competitions in your life and you've only lost once, and otherwise you're undefeated. Yeah, so it's
I guess,
pretty cool to think about that. Um, and before the event, before the actual NAKO, so before actual NAKO, we spoke after the pre-NAKO online comp, and you weren't even planning on coming to in-person NAKO, right?
no, not at all. That was like so unexpected. When you guys told me about the free entry for NAKO along with the prize win, like
Hmm.
prize, I was just like blown away. Like, wait, what? I got to tell my parents what's going
Yeah.
on. And yeah, mom and dad were supportive and said, keep your grades up. We'll we'll take you out to this. And yeah, I was okay. I was super motivated to get all my schoolwork turned in, but it all
Yeah.
worked out in like the span of a month. So
Yeah.
in planning this, it was really crazy. So thank you, Zach and Nick as well.
No problem. It was amazing to see you out there. And of course, I mean, from not even planning on going initially to just coming and just taking the win and having an epic weekend. Yeah, I met your dad. He's super, super nice guy. And it seemed like you guys had a really great time at the event together. And it was just so awesome to see you out there, especially because, yeah, it was kind of last minute. You're like, I don't know if I'm going. Oh, I'm going. And yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
really cool.
sure.
Have you been competitive in other aspects of your life before Kendama?
I'm a competitive person. Me and
Hmm.
my dad are.
Oh yeah.
I like to win. Um, I know ever since I was younger, doing like board games and stuff, even chess, I'm like, my dad would not go easy on me. He's
Yeah.
like always not letting me take the win. He'd make sure I deserve it. And I don't know, I guess since just doing any sports or any activities or games, I always like, yeah, I got to win this. I'm not going to slack on this.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of correlates to Kendama a little bit.
Totally. Totally. Yeah, I had to ask because, you competed in Kendama so few times, but in the few times you found success. So I wanted to see if there was any previous experience there in terms of competition. And we'll get into the nerves and everything later because it's a massive part of comp. But as far as your practice regimen for this competition went, what did that look like? How many like hours per week, and what was your overall strategy for preparing
Hmm.
for this competition?
Yeah, since don't have much time to prepare, you got to be strategic about that, I guess. Um, might have written down some things actually.
Hmm.
Um, lots of things go into preparation, I guess. Um, yeah, when the tricks first came out, I always like to try any of the tricks that they release for any of the events. I'm like, oh, let's see if I can land some of these first try or just keep going until I get them. Try that, and then I saw your guys' tutorials on the tricks,
Hmm.
how to get consistent at those. And so I practiced those a little bit, maybe at least 30 minutes a day. Well, sometimes it was inconsistent, but hopefully it was a good practice session of like 10 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Other days, maybe an hour or two. Um, it was the intermediate competition, the online competition. I wanted to join that like last minute, you know,
Yeah.
and I wanted to make sure I still knew what the tricks were and could get them down fairly consistently.
Hmm.
And I only had like 2 or 3 days to practice those. But what I did, I would, some things I would do, I would print out the list of tricks on a physical paper so I could see that, take that around with me. I like having a physical thing that I can always have.
Yeah.
Um, I couldn't do really much for the 3 days before the online, but it would probably make more sense to explain what I did for advanced and the actual NAKO. Um, After the intermediate, when I would do practice for doing the tricks 3 times in a row, like the 13 tricks that they give us on the list.
Hmm.
You've said in your you've said it on your YouTube channel and in the school.
Yeah.
Some comp preparation insight from you guys is make sure you can land the tricks consistently and be ready for on stage when you have to pull those out with muscle memory because
Hmm.
on stage you're nervous and um, if you can't hit it consistently, then it's not gonna work out really well, especially if you got your opponent that can land it.
Yeah.
Um, I would Other things I would do for preparation is going when I go through the tricks. Sometimes I'd mix them up together. Like I'd actually, for example, one of the tricks was like the down spike fast hands.
Yeah. Definitely fast hands.
Yeah. Another one was the down spike, then Sarah base cup, trade, airplane, free stick.
Yeah.
So I know one of the tricks I kept trying to hit was a linkage of them was down spike fast hands and Sarah, an airplane.
Hmm.
Do an airplane, I mean, do a J stick, and then I do double J stick was another trick.
Yeah.
Then maybe I try to go for 3 of the double J sticks and try to keep a streak.
Yeah.
um, that was one of the tactics I was using to get lots of the tricks in quickly. If I didn't have much time, it's like, okay, I could be more efficient if I mix up tricks if that's possible. And
Hmm.
then times hit those in a row.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that is most of the preparation I did
Yeah. So,
off the top
okay.
of my mind.
So 3 times in a row, you prioritize that. Another thing that was definitely a highlight in what you just said was just overall consistency and not skipping days. It sounds like you hit them at least for, you said at least 10 minutes a day. So it sounds like
Yeah,
you were t at least
try to hit
touching the
them
tricks
every
every
day.
single day. Yeah, at least a
Yeah,
little bit. And I really like what you
definitely.
said about putting them together and like linking them together, just putting them as making them into 2 or 3 tricks into one single combo and then hitting that. I think that's super, super smart, especially if you're low on time. So yeah, that's absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Hmm. What would you say was what would you say out of all those things was your number one, the number one tactic that you used that helped you the most, would you say? Was it the practice? Was it the online comps?
Ooh, yeah, definitely the online comps was the most preparation for me.
Mm,
Doing like mock trials of the actual event, what it would be like competing against a person and having the similar pressure on. Um, that definitely helped.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
then
all.
I'd realize which tricks maybe I'm need to work on a little bit, and I'd prioritize those tricks over ones I might be better at, and
Hmm.
then do the ones I'm less well-rounded at.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, okay. Sounds like simulation was your, yeah, biggest benefactor. And that's a huge common theme around the people who are actually I've talked to so far after NAKO, the champions of different divisions. They all mentioned how important the simulation was, whether it be simulating like visualization by themselves or actually putting themselves into a practice competition for NAKO, or whether it be like another online competition in by someone else. And overall, just that's a huge common theme by all the winners. So that's huge that you said that. I think that's a massive, massive point to bring home. Is just if you're listening to this, you want to get better at comp, try and just practice with your friends, enter an online one, and because it seems to be working really well across all skill levels.
Yeah, even if you're not expecting to win, just go for the competition and get that experience for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. A lot of players struggle with mindset and staying focused in competitions, especially
Mm.
when the time is now and you have to get a point and you're on stage and your people are watching you. You played six total matches in the advanced division,
Mm.
and the entire time you only had 3 points scored on you. Three of your matches you once won 3-0, and then even in the finals you won by a massive margin, 5-1. Like that's not a close final. That's a blowout. And so my question for you is, what helps you stay locked in and focused on stage consistently throughout the day?
Mm. It's a good question. I mean, Kendama is a really meditative sport, I'd say, especially if you're competitive and wanting to do well. Um, when I'd go on stage, I'd just make sure to, yeah, keep your breath in control and take deep breaths, not rush your tricks. And something I keep in mind was actually, now that I think of it, it was from marching band. I was in the marching band in the drumline last year, and going to one of our competitions for state or whatever, one of the seniors on our team kind of gave us like a little pep talk or whatever,
Hmm.
and was saying to all of us, just think of the when you're on the field, just think of it like it's just our practice session. Like there's not a crowd there. Don't be thinking of that. It's just you're just playing like you normally do, like you've done the whole season. You can do this already.
Hmm.
It's no different. You're just practicing your best, and yeah. So I was trying to I would say I was trying to replicate that on stage. Was uh, don't worry about what others were looking at or if I was going to hit the trick or not. Uh, just I had to be fully conscious of what the tricks were. Um, another thing was when you're going for the tricks. I also uh, I also commented this on your other interview
Hmm.
after was you can't rely on the other players to be missing their tricks. I'm sure. Well, even I will think about that sometimes. I could see, but most players would probably hope that once they hit a trick, yes, okay, hopefully that thing missed it so I could get this point.
Yeah.
I was trying to on stage, I was trying to remember, okay, hit the trick. I'm gonna expect my opponent to match this 3 times. I'm like, hey, that would be really cool. I'd actually like it to match 3 times. That would be pretty cool on stage, which
Hmm.
did happen a few. But I have to remember if they're gonna hit it, I need to be ready to match my trick again. So it was mostly against myself, I'd say, was thinking of the tricks. And
Yeah.
but controlling the nerves, that's really tough. But taking deep breaths and you have enough time to just pause and you don't have to go for the tricks really fast. Um, I would definitely slow down and be like, okay, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like Kelvin Wand does for his competition.
Hmm.
It's like the
The
wipe
taps
taps.
on the chest, couple deep breaths.
I don't go that extreme, but definitely just ignoring the crowd and taking deep breaths and being like, okay, I've hit these tricks before. Let's see how well I can do. But it's much easier said than done. But keeping those in mind helps me out a ton.
Hmm. Totally. So a lot of just staying present in the moment and not having any just having not having any expectations for the player to miss. You're actually expecting them to make it so you can set up mentally for that next try because like you said, I mean, it happens. Sometimes players go back to back to back to back to back, and you're going to need to, as a competitor, not only hit the trick once, but twice and maybe even three times. So that's cool to hear how you stay focused and are able to do that consistently. I've seen you hit tricks two, three times in a row in these comps so many times now. So that's really cool to hear your thought process up there. When you're competing, is there any, are you thinking about anything in particular, or are you noticing anything about your opponents that you're kind of taking into consideration, or is it kind of just blank mind, execute, and then you get off stage, you come back?
Mm, well,
I guess what I mean by that is real quick
yeah.
is just like Edwin. I talked to Edwin recently, and he's noticed when he's say, for example, he's playing Johnny Crest. He noticed his take and his perception of what was happening was, okay, Johnny's very stressed right now. He seems very stressed. He's not really looking at me. I can tell that he's so therefore I can tell he's stressed out. I'm more, and then he's like, yeah, I was more so just way more calm than him, and I think that helped me beat him. So that's just something as an example.
Yeah. If I That definitely relates to me.
Hmm.
Like even the finals match against Noah, it, I would even be stressed myself if I was seeing my opponent get point after point against me. I'm like, oh shoot, I need to make a massive comeback.
Yeah.
If I'm not calm, then that definitely throws me off. And but if I see my opponents kind of losing that uh, calm, then that kind of helps me be confident in myself and being like,
Hmm.
okay, well, if I keep my cool, then it's okay. I'll be able to hit these tricks. If I win or not, it'll be okay, but I'm just gonna do my best and see how often I could hit this in
Yeah.
each.
Yeah. So at each point you get, sounds like you get a little more confident, a little more okay. Like it still sounds
Yeah,
like you're
I'm still nervous,
yeah,
even
it's
if,
still nervous, still in
yeah,
it, but every point, of course,
don't
you're
yeah, don't show
more
it to
confident.
your opponent. Just being
Mm,
like, anything can happen, honestly. I'm sure some of my actually the New Mexico squad, we all came out, or most of us came out, and it was really cool to see us all compete. We were all in advanced, but one of my friends, Sam, had a crazy match where I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but whoever he faced got like 2 points on him, and he was down to one or whatever, but he ended up getting the two other points and
hmm.
coming back to the other player. So anything could happen in your matches. If you can be landing your tricks really consistently, you could still get points on your opponents. And so do not always easier said than done. Just not showing how stressed you are. Just, okay, it's going to be all right. I can hit these tricks. Taking deep breaths.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And definitely there there's a ton of combat there's a ton of comebacks that happen in all divisions. I mean, the beginner finals was a massive comeback. Um, and and there's been crazy comebacks in that I've seen personally just in Pro Open, never mind all the other divisions that have go on at these competitions. So totally. And I like what you said. You keep reemphasizing that anything can happen and staying focused because I've seen a lot of players and I've been on the opposite end of this too, but more so than not, I've been the player that come back against others, and I just know when it happens to me, it's not a good feeling. So just knowing that you have the awareness that, all right, even though you're up, you still want to just finish the job, get the win and not
Mm.
get too ahead of yourself by kind of taking your foot off the gas a little bit, and you're always on it till the end.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you're having points ahead, don't get cocky as well. Gotta
Yeah.
that same pace, I guess, and not rush for the tricks. Like, okay, I could hit these tricks, gonna get a point on this person since I'm ahead for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm. And did you have any different feelings going into the final match, or was that just another regular match for you?
Ooh, it was different. Um, that that day, I got up early with my dad and we got to the hotel and I think I went straight to the jam room. The 24 jam room, you could do whatever.
Yeah.
There's almost no one in there. I actually saw Hobby in there. He was going to be one of my matches.
Oh, okay.
He was in the top four. Um, it was really cool to see him there, and he was actually meditating in there, like taking deep breaths, and I saw other people like stretching. A few others who were in there
Hmm.
just going through their tricks as well. I was a straight hour and a half, I think, was just going through the tricks, trying to hit 3 times, and then I was even trying to do each of them maybe 5 times in a row.
Wow.
Um, and it was definitely nerve wracking to go up to the finals match. But another thing that so helped a lot was another simulation of the matches. I was with William Joyner. He's in the
Yep.
school. Yeah, I got to meet him like the first day, and he was also competing in advance. So we were both going through the tricks. He's a really cool guy to meet, and we got to practice through the tricks. It was good. And there's another guy, Alex. Right before the competition, he also came into the jam room with me and was like, he was also rooting for me.
Yeah.
And okay, this is your practice session. Can I help you at all? Like, let's go through these tricks. Let's do some of the like mock trials of the matches.
Hmm.
And it was really fun because in that jam room right before uh, the finals matches, um, I was going through the tricks, and since we were both really warmed up, we decided, okay, when Alex hits a trick, then I would have to hit it 3 times in a row, or else he gets the point. And so
Wow.
it was really intense. And yeah, I would maybe hit J stick twice, and then miss the third one, and then he gets the point. And then Candle Bird, Candle Underbird over the valley. That
Yeah.
one's like torture. That one's a nightmare. But we just keep going through those for like the last 30 minutes. And I just kept getting his reps in. And then I just had to, after that, yeah, Alex, thank you so much for helping with me, helping me with that. Um, Keeping the mindset though of whatever the outcome is, um, it'll be all right. And definitely just, I even prayed a little bit before
Hmm.
going on stage. Um, it was a different match going into the finals match.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you prepared for it very thoroughly at the day of the comp. And was that Alex Harris that helped you? Tall guy?
No,
Not as, maybe same height as you. My bad. Like you guys both tall.
yeah. Um, I don't remember his last name, but he was also competing in advanced.
Hmm.
Uh,
Could have been him. Could have been him. Maybe. Yeah.
maybe it was Alex Harris. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's really cool how that's a pretty intense simulation match where your opponent hits it once and you have to hit it 3 times in a row just so you get a point scored on you. So yeah, definitely stakes are super high there and that sounds like great prep for a finals match for sure. And so was your strategy in between matches kind of the same? Would you be practicing in between matches to stay warm?
Yeah, I'd stay warm for sure. Just
Yeah.
going through the tricks even before each match.
Hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. And it obviously worked super well. Yeah, you only got 3 points scored on you the entire time, which is super, super cool. What was your thoughts when you actually just won? I mean, it seemed you were pretty stoic on stage, honestly. I looked and when you won, it didn't even seem like you were that excited. I mean, I know you were excited, but it didn't you
I
weren't showing
know I'm not able to show it that well sometimes. I was just like so surprised. I going through each match all the way up, I was not expecting to get that far.
it. Hmm.
And then winning was just incredible. I was like, wait, what? And then I had all my squad, the New Mexico squad there. My dad was just cheering me on, and then I had a ton of family and friends in New Mexico watching the live stream, and I knew they saw it, and everyone was probably just so ecstatic. And maybe it looked like my dad was even more excited because he was just like, "What the heck? That's my son!" And he like
Yeah.
picked Amy, and same with Dan. But yeah, I was just blown away. I didn't realize I could win something like that. First
Hmm.
first competition.
Yeah.
NAKO.
Yeah, big competition to win. Big
Yeah,
competition to win. And that advanced bracket, as I said earlier, but it was super competitive. I knew, yeah, a lot of the dudes I'm friends with are in the advanced bracket, and they definitely wanted to win every single one of them. So for you to win the advanced bracket, I mean, it was definitely one of the most competitive divisions this year, I think. So that's a huge, huge win. Were you were you able to meet anybody online that you saw previously that inspired you this past weekend? I know you mentioned a couple in the post-win interview that we did that we posted on Instagram. You mentioned like Ryoga and Zaki.
Zachy and Tom Passington.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a ton of other players. Just can't think of them off the top of my head.
Hmm.
Yeah, I haven't. I got to meet Zachy briefly, and yeah, seeing everyone do their freestyles was incredible.
Yeah.
Got to see Ryoga play and take pro and get first place for that. That was so cool.
Hmm.
Um, got to meet so many people there. Oh my gosh, it was kind of overwhelming because yeah, just see all these faces like, wait, I've seen you, I know you from just seeing you online. You guys are incredible. What you're just doing these tricks in front of me? What's happening? It was overwhelming.
Yeah. That's the na yeah, the nature of competition. Everybody's there. You meet so many players that you see. Like only seeing ever online. It's incredible to see everybody in person. It's a different experience, right? It's something different about seeing Ryoga play in person or Zaki play in person than online, right?
Yeah, it just makes me want to keep doing better. Like, holy cow, these people have got some drive, and I just want to do as well as them too. I just want to keep playing kendama.
Yeah. Epic, dude. And you don't actually have so you don't actually have Instagram or TikTok or any of that. So how do you get, and that's a large source of inspiration for tricks, especially Instagram. How do you get your inspiration for
Sure,
tricks?
sure, yeah. I yeah, it's tough without having social media as much, but it's I use YouTube, so that's some social media.
Hmm.
I'll see some clips on YouTube and
Yeah.
see like pro team edits and everything.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll see a few Instagram clips. I don't have an account, but I'll be able to scan a few and
Yeah.
see. Uh, I have my friends that give me Dama dares as well. A couple of those. I
Hmm.
had an annoying one recently that I'm still working on. Uh, but yeah, I just try to. Oh, I use the Kendomanomics app. That's another good source.
Nice.
Um, I'll see those tricks and I just go for those. And yeah, always combining tricks I like to do and just adding a number or making something harder. I always like to challenge myself.
Yeah, definitely. And the Kenomenomics is yeah, there's some really challenging tricks on there, so it's super good if you want to push yourself past your level for those. Mm, do you have any favorite? I mean, I guess Kanama videos on YouTube because you said you're on YouTube. So do you have any favorite
Ooh,
edits you return to?
ooh. Yeah, there's a ton out there. I should have a favorite, shouldn't I? Um,
Maybe just one that comes to the top of your mind.
Hey, I like Nick's 9 year edit.
Yeah,
It's so sick.
yeah,
Um, yeah, that's definitely one of my top videos on YouTube. There's a ton out there, and the companies keep releasing
right.
new ones and each player. I also like Tom Pattinson's Thingy. I don't know if
Hmm.
you've seen the Soul Kendama's one.
Yeah,
I really like his video uh, on his tricks for that. Uh, yeah, can't think of all the others, but I
yeah,
definitely have a list. I should
yeah.
make a
9 year edit, Tom's thingy edit. Those are really high quality edits, and I mean the 9 year edit's definitely one of my favorites as well. It's huge. The tricks in there are actually just ridiculous. So I'm definitely a huge fan of that one as well. Yeah. For as far as progression in general, Hiram, you've been playing for 3 years. You just won the advanced division. You know, you're obviously a skilled Kendama player. What have you focused on the most to help you progress up to this point? Certain subjects of Kendama to focus on, whether it be like, for example, focus
hmm,
on consistency, or maybe you just film a lot, maybe you just film tricks a lot, or focusing on just tech tricks. What have what are some like what is a Kendama philosophy that you've abided to for the past couple of years that you've noticed has really made an impact on your game?
hmm. I always like to try tricks that are out of my comfort zone.
Hmm.
Something I do. I want to be a well-rounded player and be skilled in almost all areas. I mean, I'm still not that good at string stuff.
Hmm.
I'm still learning how to like do flow and everything, but all other types of tricks like stalls, balances, juggles, um, instas, taps, tricks like those, I try to be consistent at most of them. Um, yeah, doing tricks out of my comfort zone that I'm not good at, I it gets me really frustrated.
Hmm.
But I try to. I also I like to be good at. I I stick to the tricks I'm good at as well, and I like to hit those tricks daily
Yeah.
as long as I can. But then that's like my kind of warm up is basic tricks I'm pretty good at, and I'm like, okay, make sure I can do these down. That's pretty much my warm ups whenever I'm deciding to play. And then some days I'll just go for one style of trick and then just try to mess with different variations of that, like make a different pattern with this. I mean, there's so much I can, there's only so much I can do right now. And there's so many tricks though, but I'll try to mess with different variations and then mix styles like, okay, we'll do juggles into stalls, very simple ones. I mean, I'm not that good at that, but yeah, lunars, and then try to mix those with lighthouses and then maybe some instas or taps, very simple ones.
Okay. Okay, cool. So mainly just mm, in terms of like two things to take away from that. One, making sure to push outside your comfort zone, making sure to try tricks and frequently that you're not comfortable with, you're not good at. And then the tricks you are comfortable with, just building consistency, combining them together, like you said, Lunar's Lighthouses, doing like not just single tricks with them, but lines. So that's
Yeah,
that's huge.
yeah. I haven't, that's a interesting question. I haven't thought of a philosophy yet, but being consistent, getting out of your comfort zone, and yeah, don't forget about the basics. Like mess with the basics as well and make those challenging.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I like how you said that they make the basics challenging. Come back to the basics, maybe tweak them to find a variant that is, a little more difficult, a little more difficult, and then that seems great. I mean, if you get better at the basics over time and you make them a little harder and harder, the foundation is going to be absolutely massive. So, and you've
Make it all
obviously done that for yourself.
harder. Yeah,
Hmm.
it would be embarrassing if someone asks you to do some sort of a round trick of just bird or whatever, and you're like, oh, I can't really do that consistently, or yeah, if you're not missing, if you're missing some of the basics, then it's going to make progressing to the advanced tricks even harder. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And 100%, I totally agree. I also like being able to do tricks in person. I think it's really cool to show people and also a good testament to your true skill. Are you are you moving up to the AM Open division at your next comp?
Yeah, I guess I can't really stick in it anymore if I win. I guess I have to move up. And
Hmm.
there's the battle at the border in January.
That's right.
We'll, that'd be really cool if I can make it. I'm not sure if I can though, but whenever I go to another competition, I'll be preparing for Am Open for sure. I
Let's
was
go.
even looking at some of 2024's tricks of Battle at the Border. I was
Yeah.
actually practicing those a little bit, seeing because I was thinking if I can get some of those tricks down from last competitions, Am Open, then the tricks for 2025s will be easy to do as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it'd be cool if I could do Am Open, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, the tricks, Chad told me a week ago that they're going to come out today. So
Oh yeah, that's
I
right.
think you'll be able to take a look at them today if he still is going to be uploading those. And hey, Nick and I are going to be doing mock comps very frequently up until Battle of the Border itself with the Battle of the Border tricks. So let's just say, I
Yeah.
mean, if you, hey, maybe you win the AM Open Division one of those, maybe you get their practice in, and hey, if you keep, sounds like if you keep your grades up, your chances of going to Battle of the Border are pretty high. Who knows?
Yep. Yep. Yep, for sure. We'll
Yeah,
see.
would love to see you out there, dude. It would be epic to see you out there. Yeah, you have some time to plan for it. You have some time to plan.
Yeah.
2 months. 2 months.
Yeah. We got
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, exactly. And what are some tips you can give to other advanced slash intermediate players just getting into that skill level or working their way up and wanting to win their divisions?
Hmm. Yeah. Let's see. If you're if you're wanting to win, um, keep playing Kendama, of course, obviously. And don't be don't be comparing yourself to what others do with their tricks and everything. Because that's really easy to do, I'd say, is seeing these Instagram clips of all the pros or just anyone's best trick and be like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to be able to do this?
Hmm.
Um, you don't need to worry about that, especially for competition. I'm sure some of the people competing in advanced could have even been better than me. But if you're practicing these tricks, they can't do anything that you can't do. So if you're practicing and you're getting your reps in, you could be confident in yourself to win as well. I was not expecting to win myself, so that was a huge win for me. And anything can happen if you put in the work for sure.
Love it. Absolutely love that. You touched on something. You said don't worry about what other people are doing, especially on in like social media and Instagram or whatever. They're seeing these amazing tricks and don't just worry about that and stay focused on your own game. Have you ever struggled with that? I mean, you don't have social media, so I mean, you're definitely way less likely, in my
Unless
opinion,
go
to do
to
that.
it,
But
yeah, that's true. There's other things I could compare myself to, like even if it's not kendama. So I can see the dangers of that with kendama for sure.
hmm do you
But
think? Oh yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry. Um, yeah, I've seen people's tricks. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind, and seeing younger people progress really fast. It's like, whoa. Oh, hi, Lenora. What are you talking to? Oh, I'm on the interview with Zach Gallagher. Hi. Uh, what were we talking about?
You said we're talking about comparison, and I said, oh yeah, it's probably less likely for you because of social media for Kendama players. But then sometimes you said sometimes I
Yeah,
feel like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll see tricks. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should be doing that too. If I've been playing for 3 years, then this person who's been playing for 1 year that does this hard trick that I haven't done, what am I doing? Why can't I do that? I
mm,
need to start practicing. Which a little bit of that could actually be kind of healthy, actually, because it's like, oh yeah, you need to make sure you're well rounded and doing your tricks as well. Don't
yeah,
ignore those tricks. It's good exposure to get a little bit of that, but too much of that, it's not logical because that won't help you progress at all. If you're just not able to do any of the tricks, not able to be the best at whatever.
yeah, yeah, and comparison. A lot of people in Kendama. This is going to be one of my last questions, but a lot of people in Kendama say comparison is the thief of joy. Obviously, that's a really popular saying. Don't
Yeah.
compare. But would you say that taking inspiration from other players is a type of comparison in terms of video, like watching their videos?
Hmm. Yeah. To be a comparison, I'll take tricks, and I don't know if that's bad though.
Hmm.
Watching videos definitely motivates me to be like, get back up and start my own tricks and be like, oh, that's another way I could do this type of line, and oh, let me try that in my own way,
Yeah.
but not being I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that.
I
Yeah,
think, yeah.
to get inspiration from clips and everything, but
Hmm.
just be careful.
Yeah. I think the reason I bring that up, Hiram, is because I heard this, heard someone that I follow say that comparison, like they would mention that saying, comparison is the thief of joy, but they would also say, I think that's not true. And they edited it and they said, comparison is good because you get pushed by other people. And, if we're not getting pushed by others who are better than us and not being motivated, then they're like, yeah, I don't think that's not comparison. That's the type of comparison. But what they were really saying is comparison with judgment towards yourself. That's what people
Mm.
are really, taking negativity from and judging themselves based on what other people are doing instead of rather, you know, not carrying that judgment and comparing themselves and using that as a source of inspiration. Like I think
Yeah,
everybody listening to this does. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think you used the words perfectly that I couldn't articulate.
Hmm.
It's negative comparison, then that's not good if you're putting yourself down. But if it's comparison that's positive and saying, oh, if this person can do it, I can do it as well.
Hmm.
I have a chance to progress myself and try these skills out myself. I will be able to do it if I put in the work myself.
Yeah.
It's motivator, then that's great.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, it sounds like you have a really good mindset on that, and that you're not, you know, you don't alter and you don't have you always, you seem like a really positive guy, and it shines through in many different ways throughout like your competition, your mindset, your mentality, and your obviously what you told me in the past 3 years of Kendama. It sounds like you're a really positive dude, which is, I really respect that a lot, man. It's awesome, and I can tell when I talk to you too. It's really cool to just feel that energy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Zach. I mean, that's what it's part of Kendama is building each other up.
Hmm.
So yeah, be
Hmm.
positive and have a good outlook on life.
Yeah. Amazing. I have
Yep.
one last question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
What are your future goals as a player going into 2025, maybe even 2026, thinking 2, 3 years down the line? I know you want to enter Am Open, but what else do you have your sights set on?
Hmm. Yeah, I that's like the biggest so far, but there's a ton more room for potential and opportunity. Eventually, it would be so cool if I could do competing in pro open.
Yep.
That would take a ton of work though, but it's everything's possible, like we've said
Yeah.
throughout this interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also have a started a little club at my school for Kendama and other skill toys as well.
No way. That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I've been trying to. That's another way I've been trying to get friends into this this toy,
Hmm.
this, and I've been talking with Dan Garcia and Joshua Grove a little bit. And since Dan Garcia hosts his jams in New Mexico, he was also hoping to support me in my clubs, and maybe we could even get Joshua or Dan to come to one of the clubs and show some more people at the school
Yeah.
what it's all about.
Yeah.
I'm excited to do that. Yeah,
Yeah. You're the beacon. You're the Kendama guy at your school. You're spreading it. And I think that's awesome. You started a club. It's one of the best ways to do it in your local area. I've seen that work really well for Nick and I in the past. So I'm sure if you put some effort into it, and obviously with support from Dan, you'll be able to get some, like, really positively impact lives through that. So I'm
yeah,
really excited to hear that. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Hmm. Yeah, Hiram. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. It's been an hour of great conversation. I hope you have a great rest of your time with your family about Thanksgiving weekend in Colorado, dude. And I'm really stoked to see you take on these next online comps that we do because I definitely know you're going to participate. And hey, I hope we see each other sooner than later at Battle of the Border.
Yeah, that would be so rad. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
And thank you for having me on this interview as well. I know you guys have busy schedules too, and you take time out of your days to post this content and everything for all other players to watch. So I appreciate that too. You're also one of the reasons I'm here.
Dude, thanks. No problem at all. And happy to do it. And will always, I can speak for Nick and I both that will always keep supporting you, dude. You have a great future ahead. And I'm just happy to witness it and support you any way I can.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Zach.
Yeah. All right, Hiram. Well, have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll talk soon. All right.
All right.
All right.
In the future. Peace.
Peace. See ya.